Release the equity plan now. Release the equity plan now. CORE, who has been deeply on the front line, pushing for over 500 days. Keep in mind, over 500 days, this mayor has been breaking the law. It is the law of this great city that racial equity be a priority, that racial equity and racial justice means something for the citizens of New York City. So we are here to demand one, but also to remind him that if you don't do right, the courts will, which he should be very familiar with. So without further ado, I would like to bring to this mic one of the strongest, courageous voices for racial justice in this time, Linda Shijani. Come on, give her a round of applause.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, for coming out in the rain, but most importantly, for being a stand for racial equity. Today, we're announcing a historic lawsuit, and this is not just about a report, but this is about the fact that the second Black mayor for New York City has done nothing, nothing to improve the well-being of Black folks and communities of color in New York City. He has divided us, he has defunded us, he has disinvested in our communities, in our work, in our schools, in our housing, and he has made sure to increase law enforcement over the past 3 years without increasing our health and well-being.
That's right.
We are the first racial equity commission in the nation that has an accountability mandate. And today we announce that our commissioners and our staff are doing our job and holding this mayor accountable to the law. We're honored to be here with everyone, with our young people, with racial justice advocates from across the city, with civil rights lawyers who are taking up this case. We are honored to have Tyrik with us, to have Jennifer Jones-Austin with us, to have Angie with us, key leaders who take up this fight every single day. We are at day 581.
Shame.
45 city agencies did the hard work to create the plan. The plan is done, and the mayor doesn't want to release it. Not only is he obstructing justice, but he tried to obstruct our press conference. He's trying to prevent people from knowing that he is not doing his job.
That's right.
He has not done his job for the past 3 years. He is not here to account for why he won't release the plan. And the Commission on Racial Equity and the 4,000 New Yorkers that created a people's agenda for justice in New York are here to say that we will hold you accountable. You will not get away with not doing your job. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a stand for racial equity. Thank you for being a stand for this historic moment. This is not the last time we will hold him accountable, but this is the first of many where we will remind him that you do not run on racial equity and then do nothing for racial equity. I'm going to pass our mic back to Tyrik.
Release the equity plan now. 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 So without further ado, we'd like to bring Jennifer Jones-Austin to the mic. Come on, make some noise.
Good morning. I'm Jennifer Jones-Austin, and I served as the chair of the New York City Racial Justice Commission. 4 years ago in 2021, at a time in our nation when many people and pillar institutions were grappling with persisting racial inequity and injustice in everything from employment, wages and wealth, to education, health and mental health, policing and more, Mayor Bill de Blasio decided our city should do something about it. He created the first in the nation Racial Justice Commission, appointed 11 commissioners and me chair, and charged us with developing ballot measures that would change the New York City Charter, our Constitution, to embed racial justice and equity in government functioning. Well, the commission did its part, and New Yorkers did too. After hearing from thousands of New Yorkers about racial inequity and the resulting harms, in 2022, New York City put racial justice on the ballot, and New Yorkers responded in overwhelming and unprecedented numbers. 70% voted to amend the city charter to require citywide and agency-specific racial justice and equity plans every 2 years beginning in 2024 for the sole purpose of, quote, improving access to city services and programs for those people and communities who have been negatively affected by previous policies or actions. And 81% voted for a true cost of living measure, not a poverty or deprivation measure or a self-sufficiency standard, but a true cost of living measure based in dignity with economic security. Back in 2021, Mayor Bill de Blasio did his part and commissioners did their part. And in 2022, New Yorkers did their part. But now in 2025, the Adams administration has decisively determined not to do its part. Despite a charter mandate, the people's mandate, the will of the people, Republicans, Democrats, and independents from all 5 boroughs. Yes, despite the will of the people as expressed in their democratic vote, the Adams administration has failed and will not release the more than 1 year overdue Racial Equity Plan, the true cost of living measure too. Despite the dedication and hard work of his own Office of Equity and our city agencies that have created and completed the charter mandated plans, City Hall will not release them. Sadly, tragically, at a time in America when the federal government and some states are undertaking efforts to obliterate advancements made in the pursuit of equity and justice for all, New York City has the authority given it by the people to fight back and uphold racial equity as a fundamental value in the governance of our city. But after repeated requests urging the mayor to release the city agency's racial equity plan and the true cost of living measure, the mayor has left CORE, whom New Yorkers voted to be our voice on racial equity, with no choice but to sue. New Yorkers voted for racial equity. The mayor has exceeded his authority in blocking it. As a New Yorker who believes in both equity and in our democracy, I proudly stand with CORE and with all who joined today as it brings this lawsuit to protect and advance the will of the people, and with it, justice for all.
Release the equity plan now.
Release the equity plan now.
Hold them sides up. Release the equity plan now. 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 Without further ado, one of the most powerful chairs that we have here at City Council, who has labored, who has fought tirelessly for CORE to maintain their independence and also provide the necessary resources for their infrastructure. I bring Councilmember Natasha Williams to the stage.
Thank you. And thank you to the Commission on Racial Equity that is taking a proactive role in addressing this horrible situation that we are dealing with. 581 days.
Right.
That is how long it has been since this administration was required by law to release the Racial Equity Plan. 581 days of delay. 581 days of excuses. 581 days where people of color in New York City have been told to wait for justice. That should have never been denied in the first place. What do these days mean? They mean 581 mornings where families woke up still trapped in segregated neighborhoods.
That's right.
Scrambling to find a home that is safe, stable, and affordable. That means 581 school days where children sat in overcrowded classrooms, where opportunity was smothered by circumstance. That means 581 nights where the most vulnerable waited for care or went without life-saving medication. That means 581 days that Black and brown communities were told to wait.
That's right.
While this mayor's office delayed, distracted, and withheld the equity that the people deserve. As we wait, real lives, real futures, and real communities bear the cost of inaction. Each day, the silence of this administration is an affront to every New Yorker who voted for equity, accountability, and fairness. It betrays everyone who dared to hope for change after centuries. Because the fact that it took George Floyd, because that's what started this under Mayor de Blasio,
right,
to do what we knew should have been done centuries ago is a problem. We are done with the political posturing, empty policies, and broken commitments. And it is utterly tone deaf to the reality that federal protections are failing, and at the state level, these measures don't even exist. This administration promised us accountability. It promised us transparency. It promised us action. Instead, what we have received is silence, avoidance, and betrayal. We know that justice delayed is justice denied, and equality postponed is oppression in motion.
That's right.
Every moment we wait for justice is a moment stolen from those who have already been marginalized for generations. We cannot afford this, given this political climate. New York must remain a pillar against the divisive forces that seek to deepen inequity, marginalize communities of color, and erode the promise of equity. Our city cannot afford to lead with silence while families struggle, children are left behind, and communities are denied the resources they deserve. The time for excuses is over. The time for action is now. That is why the Racial Equity Plan matters. It is not just a document. It is a lifeline. It connects policy to resources, intention to outcomes, and ensures that investments reach the communities that need them most. Without it, equity is reduced to rhetoric, a promise unfulfilled. And that is why I could not be prouder to stand with CORE as chair of the Committee on Civil and Human Rights, and as co-chair of, this is not right, but as treasurer of the Black, Latino, and Asian Caucus of the City Council. I joined them in taking this fight to the courts, because this lawsuit is not only against a mayor, it is against a culture of delay, avoidance, and broken promises. It is a demand that this city honor the law, respect its people, and finally deliver on its commitment to Black and brown communities. We stand here today not to simply mark numbers, but to mark a turning point. We are here to say we will no longer tolerate postponement. We will no longer accept silence as a response to centuries of inequity. We will no longer allow law and policy to fail the very people who built this city. And especially now when the federal government rolls back diversity, equity, and inclusion. We gotta say those words. Dismissing their necessity, New York must not shrink from its responsibility to serve its people. Our city must lead the fight to establish equity in this city and not ignore it. To those watching, to those affected, to those who have been counting the days, let me be clear. The people of New York City are done waiting. We demand accountability, we demand transparency, and we demand action. And to the mayor and this administration, the time for rhetoric is over. The time for excuses is over. You will release the Racial Equity Plan, you will honor the law, and you will serve the people. A demand for justice, a demand for transparency, and a demand for equity is what is real and measurable. We are not asking, we are insisting. We insist that New York live up to its word and its law and its people. And we will not stop until equity is more than a promise. It is a reality delivered to every community that has waited far too long. And I just wanted to segue a bit because I have written a lot of letters since the beginning of the year, emails, behind closed door conversations, to no avail. I have even asked if they would allow us just to view it. If you can't release it, if you're worried about the federal government suing you, just show us the plan. Give us as an opportunity as co-leaders of the city to look at the plan and figure out how we can best serve New Yorkers if you don't want to give a quote-unquote roadmap to President Trump and still nothing. And so I know for sure, and this administration knows for sure, that I tried really hard to be a good partner. But day after day after day of not getting any semblance of partnership, any semblance of this administration really effectively trying to address the issues of racial equity in this city is disappointing. And I know there's some concerns about counter lawsuits from the federal government. Well, we already have lawsuits. The federal government is already suing us. And so I say, release the equity plan now. Thank you.
Release the equity plan now. Release the equity plan now. Release the equity plan now. Because why? Eric, you going to court. 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 Without further ado, I'd like to bring a bad brother to the stage, to this podium, who understands that this is not just a city issue. It is also a state issue regarding racial justice. Assemblymember Khalil Anderson.
Thank you so much, Tyrik, and to everybody here from CORE who are fighting for us to get this plan released. I want to share a few things in my remarks today about why the mayor is wrong and he needs to release the report now. The Rockaways, which is a community I represent, has issues with city services. The last mayor mentioned that we have a tale of two cities, and the Rockaways is your best example of that. Last in this, last in that, first in nothing. And when I say this, I mean city services being properly rendered to our communities. We need and have an opportunity to make a difference and make those changes if this plan is released. On the state level, we've pushed and passed reparations, and that committee is working to put together a plan to address the issues of those who are formerly enslaved. This is us building the gap and closing that gap. I thank my sister Jennifer Jones-Austin for her service on that commission. But the city has done a bit of work. And if this plan is released, we'll be able to see that work and push our agencies to do better. We don't need to wait on Democrats in the DNC, in the Central. We have a plan right now to Trump-proof New York City, and it's the Racial Equity Plan.
That's right.
It would help to make sure our agencies are right-sized, help to ensure that our classrooms are at the right levels, help to ensure our city agencies are rendering services at a right clip to meet the needs of New Yorkers and communities that are growing ever so present. I want to close with this quote, using the mayor's own words against him to show him that he's wrong in this moment and that he can stand up for New Yorkers. The mayor often says that public safety is the prerequisite to prosperity. Well, I'm here to argue today that the prerequisite to prosperity is investing in the New Yorkers who keep this city running.
That's right.
To invest in sanitation services to keep this city running. To invest in our libraries equitably to keep this city running. My friends, I want to implore you all today that we can push our mayor to release this report, and I know a court battle is the way to go, unfortunately. So I thank Tyrik, I thank CORE, I thank our brother here, Christian John Foy, who's been on the front lines for decades fighting for racial equity in our city. Thank y'all all so much.
Release the equity plan now! Release the equity plan now! Release the equity plan now! Come on! Release the equity plan now! Release the equity plan now! Release the equity plan now! Without further ado, we'd like to bring the controller to the stage who knows the importance of racial justice and racial equity and equality. Brad Lander.
All right, great. All right, Sadie, come up too. I'm New York City Controller Brad Lander and the Chief Equity Officer in the Controller's Office. Sadie Campo Amor is my appointee to CORE. If everybody, I want to thank Tyrik and Jennifer and Kirsten and Linda. If all of the commissioners and staff of CORE would just raise their hands so we could really thank them. This is a team of people that I have heard from Sadie who are doing really powerful work. And it's why I thought it was important to be here as the controller of the city of New York. As somebody who voted in November of 2022 to create the Commission on Racial Equality per the city charter and assign the commission to develop and release a racial equity plan by January of 2024. So as a New Yorker, as a voter, as the controller, and yeah, I think it's important to be here as a white New Yorker to say, I am invested in the racial equity plan being released as required by law. And there's a couple of reasons for that. First, really is just that the rule of law has to matter in New York City. New Yorkers overwhelmingly voted for a charter reform, no small thing. Not that a city council law, council members, is not important. They are also important to follow. But there is something extra powerful when New Yorkers across the city vote for a charter amendment and make that the law of the city of New York. And the reason that the Charter Revision Commission proposed doing that was precisely for that powerful statement. Knowing these dark times we're in, knowing there are folks like Trump and MAGA folks in Washington who want to roll back racial equity, the Charter Revision Commission said, we think New Yorkers collectively want to express our shared commitment to racial equity. And let's be clear, that is what happened. New Yorkers overwhelmingly voted to authorize CORE and to assign it creating the racial equity plan. And that is a powerful statement. It says right now, it's not a few elected officials, it's not just these commissioners or the staff, it is the people of the city of New York who are not walking backward on DEI, who aren't punking out on civil rights, who haven't decided it's not important to live in a city with principles of racial justice and racial equity. We are a city whose people said we want this. And for the mayor to violate the charter and violate that spirit that New Yorkers collectively voted for, it's appalling, and it is unfortunately, got more in kind with what Trump is doing than what New Yorkers want. The second reason I just want to say, and I think this is important to say as a white New Yorker, is to remember the ways that we all do better when we all do better. The racial equity is not a zero-sum game. Unfortunately, it is small-minded zero-sum thinking that is what Donald Trump leads with, and is the only reason I can come up with for not releasing this plan. Is the idea that thriving is zero-sum, that if somebody's going to get a little more, somebody else is going to get a little less. But we know that is not what racial equity is. That's not what civil rights are. The opposite is true. As author Heather McGhee showed so powerfully in her book, The Sum of Us, when she researched what she calls drain pool politics, when racist communities, not just in the South, but elsewhere around the country, close their swimming pools rather than integrate them under court order. They immiserated themselves. They lost benefits. And when communities have the courage to develop racial equity plans and to step up and implement them, everyone does better, because you wind up with safer neighborhoods and a safer city that everyone can thrive in when some people aren't kept in crappy schools with limited job opportunities. When everyone has access to capital and can create new businesses, more jobs are created and people thrive more broadly. That's what Heather McGhee calls the solidarity dividend. And right now is a time, unfortunately, for people to decide which side are they on. Because if you're failing to release this racial equity plan per what New Yorkers voted for, then you are on the side of drained pool politics. You are acting in a way that believes or pretends things are zero-sum, and everyone will suffer as a result. If you're on the side of this lawsuit, if you're on the side of CORE, if you're on the side of the racial equity plan, then you are pushing for that solidarity dividend, where by building a more just and inclusive city, all New Yorkers will thrive. That's what's at stake here, is the expression of New Yorkers for the city we want, one where all New Yorkers thrive. It takes a lot. I mean, I think press get this, but I'm just gonna underline it. It's not a small thing for this commission, with its appointees from the mayor, from the controller, from the borough press speaker, who else have appointees? Sorry, the public advocate, to collectively decide to sue the mayor to follow the law is no small thing. And so I just want to end as I began, saying thank you to the people that have had the courage to step up and take this really important and powerful step. And I do want to introduce my appointee to CORE and to this commission, Sadie Campo.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Comptroller. Thank you, everybody, for being here. My name is Sadie Campo Amor. I'm the Comptroller's Chief Equity Officer. I'm also a commissioner among many wonderful commissioners here today. I'm an Indigenous New Yorker. I'm a Latina New Yorker. I'm a New York City public school parent and a New York City public school graduate. So these issues are not just of professional importance to us, but they're also of personal importance to us. These impact our families today. These equity plans were supposed to be ideally a blueprint for how New York and city agencies were going to address generations-long inequities, racial and socioeconomic injustices. These racial equity plans were supposed to be a tool for transparency so that all New Yorkers could see how city agencies and when city agencies would be addressing and how they would be addressing these issues. These equity plans were supposed to be a opportunity for us to see how New York would marshal the funds and the resources to our institutionally oppressed and marginalized communities. Make no mistake, there is a staggering cost to racism. Every single year that an individual is on Rikers Island, it costs New Yorkers over $500,000. So these racial equity plans were a concrete way to say, how will we fund, sustain, and cultivate an inclusive, an equitable, and an accessible city? Because we know that when we have a New York City that is accessible, that is inclusive, and that is equitable, that it is better for every single one of us, like my boss just said. There is not just a moral imperative to advance anti-racism, multiracial democracy, and social equity, but there is an economic one. Thank you so much for having us here today.
Release the equity plan now! Release the equity plan now! Release the equity plan now! Councilmember would like to talk very briefly as well. Thank you so much.
I'll be quick. First, as our Comptroller said, thank you to everyone who's here, whether you're a member, volunteer, who have testified for decades, because I know this plan has been decades in the work. I want to thank you for your commitment and your determination to not give up, no matter the obstacle. As the Comptroller said, suing the mayor is a really big thing. It takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of backbone, but you guys are doing the right thing. You are on the side of justice. I want to give a shout out, I know she left, our committee chair, Natasha Williams, because I sat right next to her in all those committees where she asked, when is the plan going to be released? And she's been committed to this fight and making sure that those data points are made transparent for the whole city. Because we all know that justice delayed is justice denied. Justice delayed is service denied. Justice delayed is voice denied. And so what you guys are doing are trying to give a voice to the public, to make sure that that kid in public housing gets the services that they need. That older adult who's on a senior center where the ceiling is collapsing, that they have a voice to make sure that they get the investment that they need. And so you guys are doing the work that this mayor should be doing. He should be promoting this plan. But he knows if he does, it's gonna bring transparency to his administration. It's gonna add accountability to his administration. And I know our assembly member used a quote that the mayor typically says. I'm gonna add another one. When this mayor was running, he said, we need upstream solutions to solve downstream problems. But if we don't know those upstream solutions, how are you gonna solve those downstream problems? And this plan is gonna show us and bring a light to the problems that we all know exist in our city. And so I wanna thank you for your work. I stand beside you when you file this lawsuit, and you gotta know that the whole council is supporting what you're doing today. So thank you so much.
And we want to hear some voices from our youth as well. Where are our youth voices? Where are our youth voices? Come on up. Come on up. Release the equity plan now.
Release the equity plan now. Release the equity plan now. Release the equity plan now. Release the equity plan now.
Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Orla. I am a youth leader from Youth Circle Teachers. We're here today because New York City has failed to meet its own legal obligation. The Racial Equity Plan, required by the New York City Charter to be released in January of 2024, is now more than 500 days overdue. That's not just a number. That's over 500 days where our city has ignored the voices of the communities most harmed by racism.
And I'm Cassidy Koo with the Yaya Network. This plan is essential to ensuring the city's budget support for underrepresented and working class communities. Without it, the decisions that we make fail to center those who are most impacted. As a public school student who has witnessed firsthand the segregation and inequity in our school system, I demand that we do better. More than 4,000 New Yorkers contributed to community equity priorities. Those voices, our voices, must not be ignored.
Good morning. My name is Rahima Kalani from the Brotherhood Sister Soul Liberation Program, and as a young person of color in the city, we know what happens when racial equity is ignored. Schools lose funding, housing becomes unaffordable, mental health decreases, and our communities are left without the resources we need to thrive. I've been raised in places where low-income communities are specifically colored people. Why is that? This is why this fight is personal.
But instead, the FY26 budget was created without this plan, meaning that the dire needs of our most vulnerable communities will be overlooked for yet another year. I grew up attending a majority Latino and Black Title I school, and I've seen how big of an impact that racial equity programs can have. But right now, entire neighborhoods are being left out of resources that they deserve. Ignoring this mandate goes to show that Mayor Adams could not give less of a shit about our communities.
The law mandates that the racial equity plan exists. The people have spoken, and in response, the city has turned its back on us. This lawsuit isn't just paperwork. It's about holding our government accountable to its own promises. Youth are watching, organizing, and demanding justice, and we will not accept a New York that leaves our communities behind.
And that's why we're standing together, multiracial, multi-generational, across organizations. Our unity shows that equity is not optional, it's essential. Section 3404 of the NYC Charter makes it clear. CORE must purpose community equity priorities, and those priorities must be part of the city's plan. That law is already on our side. So today, we demand transparency, accountability, and justice. We demand the immediate release of the Racial Equity Plan.
This lawsuit isn't just a legal deadline. It's about building a fair, more equal New York City for everyone.
A city where no future mayor can ignore the importance of racial equity.
The people deserve a government that follows its own laws. Thank you.
Release the equity plan now. Release the equity plan now.
Release the equity plan now. Release the equity plan now.
Without further ado, we would like to bring on some of the appointed commissioners. Brother Reverend Hurston Foy. Woo! No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
Y'all got to do better than that. What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
When do we want it?
Now.
When do we want it?
Now.
I would like to thank the leadership of CORE and this city in the person of Jennifer Jones Austin, Linda Toscani, and Tasha Williams. You know, it's not lost on me that in a time of great racial inequity and misogyny sweeping across our nation, that the people who are on the forefront of fighting for racial equity here in the city of New York are women, and women of color. You know, this day is ripe with Shakespearean irony. We have a black mayor that got elected on his blackness, That's right.
that refuses to institute a racial equity plan that the former police captain turned mayor is obligated by law to do.
That's right. That's right.
So we got a black man and a former cop
That's right.
who are flouting the Constitution of the city of New York, much like we have a president flouting the Constitution of the United States. You can't pimp the black vote
That's right.
and then forget the black voters when you get the job.
That's right.
Some of y'all might want to move out of the camera shot. But the reason they brought me here is not for nicety. Somebody got to speak truth to power, as all of these people who have done. But somebody got to talk to this black man from Brooklyn
That's right.
like he's a black man from Brooklyn.
That's right.
Homie, you got elected saying, I'm going to be the second black mayor of the city of New York, which means you have a historical mandate
That's right.
that you are flouting. You got elected as a former police captain, saying that you're going to uphold the law of the city of New York. And you become the mayor and you flout the law of the city of New York. Homie, what's up?
What's up?
You have time and time again consistently invoked your race when it was convenient. When the media was holding you accountable, it was no high-tech lynching of an uppity black man. But when time comes for you to uphold the city charter, which demands that the city of New York recognize, identify, and eliminate racial and systemic inequities, you ain't nowhere to be found.
That's right.
And now you're gonna come back before the same voters again and say, hold up, wait a minute. I'm the second black mayor. But black people in this city are no better off today
That's right.
than they were before you got here, homie. You got a political mandate from the voters for a racial equity plan. You got a historic mandate from the ancestors by invoking them to get there. And now, brother, you have a mandate to step before the people and tell the truth about your record. And if you refuse to do it, we got plenty of people out here who will. I'll close with this last point of Shakespearean irony. This mayor, in order to become a black police captain, had to sue the NYPD
That's right.
because of their racial inequity.
That's right.
So to get your justice, you had to go to court because you were under a racist administration. And for us,
right.
as people of color,
That's right.
to have to take a black mayor to court for our racial inequity is Shakespearean irony to me. Brother, you wouldn't be where you are
That's right.
without you going to court
That's right.
to fight for racial inequity. So how dare you try to deny this commission its mandate to hold you accountable, even if we've got to go to court to do it. Brother, homie, I'm at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for words because I got to tell my son, my sons, my black sons, that a black mayor is channeling a white racist president's agenda in a black and brown city. I've got to explain to them that not everybody that's your color is your kind.
That's right.
And I got to use you as an example to do it.
That's right.
I'm not in a position now to be kind about this because we are living in a time of fascism in America. And if you don't have the guts to stand up to a fascist and to invoke the mandate that the people of
New York City gave you to fight for racial inequity, you don't belong in this seat. You don't belong in this job. Matter of fact, many of us have been calling for the R word for a long time for various reasons. But now you have proven that you not only are abdicating your responsibility to execute your job, you are flouting the spirit that got you elected, and you are injuring the future generation that are being raised in a more racist city under a black mayor. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
So we're gonna continue with the same chant, with the same energy. So when I say racial, you say equity. Racial
equity.
Racial
equity.
Racial
equity.
Racial
equity.
My name is Yesenia Mata, and I serve proudly in this commission. I had the privilege to be appointed by Mayor Bill de Blasio to serve in the Racial Justice Commission. And now I have the privilege to continue doing this work as I was appointed by Speaker Adams to serve in the Core Commission. And let me tell you, to get here was not easy. Jennifer can testify of how hard we work in the Racial Justice Commission with the communities. It took days, it took weeks, it took months, it took many hours to get where we are here today. We worked with every community member. We were in every borough. We were in the Bronx. So if you're from the Bronx, give a shout out to the Bronx. We were in Brooklyn. Let's give a shout out to Brooklyn. We were in Staten Island. Let's give a shout out to Staten Island. And we were in Manhattan, and we were in Queens. Let's give them a shout out. It took many meetings in order for us to get where we are today. And what we ended up showcasing was that New Yorkers wanted a commission, an independent commission that can hold the mayor accountable. That New Yorkers wanted to showcase the true living costs in New York City, because we know that our black and brown communities have a hardship to live here in New York City. And we ended up showcasing the true inequalities, and we wanted to showcase a true plan and solutions so our communities can move forward. And now I can testify that this commission, with the amazing commissioners here, that we have been trying to showcase what New Yorkers really want by releasing this equity plan. However, we have been unable to do that. And that's why we are here today. And it's not easy for us to be here in suing the mayor. On a personal level, we know what this can mean to us as well. However, we are here because we know that the city needs this plan to be released. As someone who serves the Latino community and as someone that has immigrant families still, I know how important this equity plan is. I've seen day after day on how my community is targeted. I've seen day after day on how ICE has been raiding my community. I've seen how families have been separated and people that have no criminal record and people that are just trying to make a living has been torn apart from their family. So this is why I'm here today on a personal level as well, because I know how important this is to my community and to my family, but as well to this commission and to the community in New York City. So we need to let this mayor know that this equity plan needs to be released and needs to be released now, or else we're gonna continue organizing and holding these press releases. So when I say racial, you say equity. Racial,
equity.
Racial,
equity.
Racial,
equity.
Round of applause to you.
We would like to bring our champion, our fighter. Sometimes you need a fighter. You need to find a good white boy to do it for you too. Without further ado, our attorney, Andy.
Thank you so much. Boy, following that crowd is really hard. And those kids are the future of the city. That's right. Good morning. My name is Andrew Michelli, and along with my law firm, I have the privilege of representing the New York City Commission on Racial Equity. Let me begin by congratulating the Commission for bringing this lawsuit. Power yields nothing without a demand. Frederick Douglass said that, and he was right. But what he didn't mention is that making a demand takes courage, a ton of courage. And in bringing this case and filing this case against the most powerful person in city government, this commission has demonstrated enormous courage, and they need to be congratulated for that. New York City, like the United States, has a constitution, a rule book. It's written and approved by all of us as the voters. It's called the New York City Charter, and it dictates, it commands how our city government works, who does what, and when. And as Jennifer and others have said, in 2022, the voters of this city added a new chapter to that Constitution, a new chapter to the rule book, a chapter that created the Commission on Racial Equity and empowered it to engage with the community and transmit their feelings and views to this mayor. The mayor's job, and it's set forth right there in the rule book, is to do one thing on a very specific timeline, and that is to create and publicly release a plan, a written plan for how city government will address and remediate the racial inequities that plague our city. There's nothing vague or ambiguous or subject to interpretation about what the mayor must do and when he must do it. He must create and issue a written plan on racial equity, and he must do it no later than 3.5 months after the Commission has issued its report on the priorities for change that New Yorkers have identified. Today, we know that plan is complete, the deadline for the mayor has come, and the deadline for the mayor has gone. The Charter commands that the report be made public, and still he has refused to do so. This is a case about the abuse of mayoral power by inaction, by not doing what the law requires, by ignoring the will of the people, and by refusing to act. We can't know why this mayor is sitting on the plan, whose agenda he might be serving, or what he's afraid of. It doesn't matter under the law. The law is clear that the mayor must release this plan, and we're going to court to make him do it. The case we've brought is very simple. It asks the court to order the mayor, Mayor Adams, to do his job, to uphold his oath, and to release the plan. It seeks a writ of mandamus, which just means an order, a direction. And if he has any shred of respect for the rule of law, he will respect that writ and he will abide by it forthwith. The lawsuit also seeks to remedy the mayor's effort to kneecap this commission in even bringing this lawsuit and even in hiring its own lawyers. Through the Corporation Counsel who he appointed, Mayor Adams has done everything possible to prevent this case from being brought. It's a breathtaking overreach of mayoral power, not seen since the days of Rudy Giuliani. And Rudy Giuliani didn't get away with it, and Mayor Adams won't either. Ladies and gentlemen, New York City is governed by a set of rules. It's the city charter, not by the whims of a single man. Ours is a government of laws, not of men. Another Mr. Adams said that, a guy named John Adams in the 1770s. We're going to show Eric Adams what John Adams meant. We're going to go to court, and we're going to force him to obey the law. Thank you.
Without further ado, I'd like to bring some community organizers as well to the stage, Darker. Yes.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Can we make some noise for
Yeah.
racial equity? My name is Durga Srinivasan, and I started organizing when Trump first got elected. I was 14. Okay? And now we have the first commission on racial equity in the nation. And Eric Adams is not letting them make our city more equitable. In our city, there are more than 170 billionaires and 146,000 homeless children. This isn't happening because he's doing his job. He is not doing it well, and he's not serving our people. He has waited for 400 days. Let's not make it any more than that. Well, let's not get to 500, okay?
81.
No, oh goodness, let's not get it to 600. Almost 2 years. We're almost at 2 years of fighting for this to get released. I used to work at the Mayor's Office of Climate and Environmental Justice and worked with them as well. This has been years in the making. We don't know why this is happening. It could be because our mayor is under that same Trump's little finger, or it can be any amount of reasons, but what's important is what has to happen. New Yorkers need a world in which every child born here is safe and has a home and is not afraid to live here because of our systemic racism that will keep them from living the life they need and deserve. We need a plan, and we need it now, because racial equity isn't a trend, isn't just a black square that you can post. Demand the racial equity plan with us. We'll be sharing more tools and ways to advocate. Join us. Thank you.
Yes. We'd like to also hear from a statement from Joyce McMillan as well. Thank you so much. Release the equity plan now.
Release the equity plan now.
Release the equity plan now.
My name is Joyce McMillan, and I'm a community organizer, and I began organizing because I saw what it looked like when barriers were set up in our community to have us fail. Anti-black racism is real. The true meaning of justice encompasses fairness, equity, and the upholding of what is right and morally correct, often within context of law and social constructural structures. It involves treating individuals impartially, ensuring that everyone is held accountable for their actions, and striving for a system that prevents harm and provides appropriate consequences for wrongdoing. The exact opposite of what is happening and the reason we are here today. New York City is failing at achieving justice for all humans of this city. Our current mayor has the power to move the needle towards justice by keeping his word and releasing
the equity plan now.
As the co-chair of Narrowing the Front Door, I can say with confidence, one of the best things that Narrowing the Front Door has done is chose to partner with Linda Tagani and CORE to bring awareness and positive change to the government agencies and their agents who use taxpayer dollars to create chaos within communities of color that have been redlined, communities that face structural barriers to prevent success built into daily operations, separating families for reasons related to poverty while financially fueling others to participate in the harm under the guise of protecting the society, the streets, or children, mandating people to surveil, judge, and report families, justifying their actions by hiding behind releasing the equity plan now.
Yes.
We are sick and tired of action plans that violate and disorientate our community members by ignoring the outcomes of their current practices and refusing transparency because they won't release the equity plan now. My time is short, but I want to thank everyone for being here today. Change is going to happen because we stand together. Continue standing, continue fighting.
Woo! Then we would take we'll filter out some questions.
How's it going, folks? My name is Matt Gonzalez. I'm the campaign director for New Yorkers for Racially Just Public Schools. I want to appreciate the New York City Commission on Racial Equity for bringing this lawsuit against Mayor Adams, who ran on racial equity and justice and has failed to deliver on those promises. A couple receipts in the public education system. Mayor Adams, as you can see, has defunded our public schools for his entire term. This city council budget is the first time during his tenure that he has not attempted to defund our schools. This means we are taking away counselors, enrichment programs, and other resources that our young people need. This is particularly harming Black, brown, and immigrant New Yorkers.
Additionally, New York City is the most diverse city on the planet, yet we are home to one of the most segregated school systems in the United States. And sadly, despite Eric Adams attempting and committing to racial justice, his administration has not just refused to take action on the modest progress we made under the previous administration. They have made the problem worse. We have more segregated schools than we did prior to his administration. This is unacceptable, this is unnecessary, and this is a decision the mayor has made. Lastly, this administration spends over $400 million a year to police Black and brown students in their schools. This means that we are using metal detectors, we are criminalizing them, and instead of investing in programs like restorative justice, social emotional learning, that we know that results, that data have proven improve the conditions for young people in our schools, we are putting more cops in our communities, in our schools. Our young people need counselors, not cops. So we call on Mayor Adams, if you have one, release the racial equity plan now. Absolutely. Please. Thank you so much.
Very briefly, we want to just filter out any questions from the media. If anybody has any questions to ask Linda, Andy, our legal team at all. Yes.
Wondering what you're hoping to see from this report.
Speak up a little bit.
What are things that you're hoping to see in this report? What will you learn?
So what are we hoping to see in the report? We want to see a plan for how Adams is going to hold police accountable. We know today the police commissioner has decided to keep an officer who was found guilty in the murder of Alan Felix. We want to know how the police discipline will be shared in the report for the public. We want to see what DOE is doing that will allow more than 8 Black students into a specialized high school. How is he funding our schools in our neighborhoods? We also need to see how he is actually closing Rikers. These are all racial equity matters, and all of these need to be in the plan. Every single city agency has to have goals, outcomes, and indicators that they will do and track. And our job at the commission is to make sure people's voice is in that plan. So I expect to see a direct response to the 18 community equity priorities that over 4,000 New Yorkers, including the young people that are here with us today, participated in. And all of those are requirements in the law.
If I may just quickly add, it's important to note when we talk about 4,000 New Yorkers that it was not just 4,000 New Yorkers who voted for racial equity and justice. Those are persons who committed to working with CORE after the racial justice measures were passed. There were thousands of New Yorkers who came out and demanded racial justice and equity in core government functioning. It's also important to note that every city agency is charged with, is tasked with looking at their policies and their practices. Not just the DOE, not just the police department, the NYPD, but every city agency, every mayoral agency is charged with being reflective, looking at what they've done, what policies they have on the books that may be harmful to Black and brown persons and communities, and then doing something about it. That's what we expect to see. Their work, their reflective analysis, and then their plans for doing things differently going forward.
Yes.
Would you attribute the fact that the report is late to the fact that the mayoral campaign is taking place?
We do believe that there is a level of cover-up to take place around what he has not done. And so, whether that's the case or not, we also want to just remind everyone again, this is the law of this land, and this should be followed. But yes, there is some inklings that we do believe that since he hasn't done much, he has a little to show for it, that there's a possible delay or holding or hiding his hand regarding the plan. All right, release the equity plan now.
Release the equity plan now.
We thank everybody so much. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Linda.
Hey, my man. I'm glad you're here. Yeah, man. Y'all been all over. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I know you didn't
I got some statement.
I know. Well, you know, we're starting on
Linda.
Linda talking to other